In 9600 BCE, someone hauled 10-ton limestone pillars up a hilltop in Turkey, carved them with intricate symbols, and arranged them in perfect circles, then buried the whole thing deliberately. No war, no disaster, they chose to hide it. You were never taught this existed. Archaeology has known for 30 years, and the reason it keeps getting downplayed is stranger than the ruins themselves. The site is called Göbekli Tepe. It sits on a ridge in southeastern Turkey, and it is 12,000 years old. That's not a typo. The pyramids at Giza were built around 2500 BCE. Stonehenge went up around 3000 BCE. The oldest known city, Uruk, was founded around 4500 BCE. Göbekli Tepe predates all of it, by thousands of years. T-shaped stone pillars up to 20 feet tall, carved with foxes, vultures, scorpions, snakes. Individual stones weighing 10 tons. At least 20 circular enclosures already mapped. Ground-penetrating radar shows hundreds more pillars still underground. And here is the problem. The people who built this were supposed to be hunter-gatherers. No agriculture, no writing, no metal tools, no cities. According to every model of human development you were taught, the sequence is fixed. Farming creates surplus, surplus creates cities, cities create monuments. Göbekli Tepe destroys that sequence. No permanent dwellings nearby, no storage pits, no evidence of agriculture in the earliest layers. These were nomadic hunter-gatherers who quarried limestone from bedrock and dragged it up a hill with intricate precision before farming existed anywhere on Earth. Klaus Schmidt, the German archaeologist who excavated Göbekli Tepe for 16 years, said it plainly: the temple came first. His conclusion, the conclusion that never made it into a curriculum, was this: Göbekli Tepe didn't follow civilization, it may have created it. The pressure to feed workers, coordinate labor, maintain the site across generations, that pressure may be what forced humanity to invent agriculture. Everything you were taught about how civilization begins runs backwards, and that's not even the strangest part. Study the pillars, they're T-shaped. The crossbar is a head. Arms are carved in relief along the shaft. Hands, a belt, a loincloth. These are not animals. These are beings, something between human and God, arranged in circles, facing inward mid-ritual. Pillar 43, called the Vulture Stone, has been analyzed by researchers from the University of Edinburgh. Their 2017 finding: the carvings may depict a catastrophic cosmic event, a comet impact. Possibly the same impact that triggered the Younger Dryas, a sudden global climate collapse around 10,950 BCE that decimated large animal populations worldwide. If that reading holds, someone 12,000 years ago was watching the sky, cataloging catastrophe, and carving the record into stone. But here's what doesn't add up. Around 8,000 BCE, the builders of Göbekli Tepe buried it, deliberately. They filled every enclosure with rubble, bones, and flint, then sealed the complex under tons of compacted earth. No conquest, no catastrophe from outside. They did this themselves. Why would you construct the most sophisticated structure on Earth, maintain it for centuries, and then hide it from the future? That question has been in the archaeological record since Schmidt's first digs. It has never made it into a textbook. The standard answer, ritual closure, a symbolic end to a sacred era, is not an answer. It restates the question with different words. Someone chose to erase this, and they succeeded for 12,000 years. Here is what the mainstream narrative will not say plainly. If Göbekli Tepe is what it appears to be, the timeline of human civilization is not slightly wrong. It is wrong at the foundation. An organized society, coordinating large-scale labor, tracking astronomical events, encoding meaning in carved symbols across centuries, existed before agriculture, before writing, before any city we have ever named. Schmidt, before his death in 2014, was increasingly convinced the site reflected an institutional civilization we have no category for. Not a tribe. Something with generational memory, coordinated purpose, and a cosmology sophisticated enough to record a comet strike in limestone and hide it before the world ended. The Turkish government has restricted excavation access. Only about 5% of the site has been excavated. Findings are published slowly, selectively, in journals most people will never see. The carved symbols across these pillars, repeated patterns spanning multiple enclosures and centuries, have not been publicly decoded. Not for lack of effort, for lack of full access. What remains in the other 95% of that hill has not been disclosed. Consider what it would mean to take Göbekli Tepe seriously. It would mean the model of how civilization begins is wrong at its base. It would mean that between 10,000 and 7,000 BCE, an organized, symbolically literate society built a monumental complex, maintained it across generations, and then deliberately erased it from the face of the earth. Every time a site like this surfaces, Göbekli Tepe, the submerged megaliths off India's coast, the anomalous stone complexes in Malta and Bolivia, the academic response follows the same shape. Minimize implications, slow the publications, keep the scope narrow. That's a pattern. You don't need to be a theorist to notice it, you just have to be paying attention. Here's the one question no official source will answer directly. The people who built Göbekli Tepe buried it themselves, carefully, completely, on purpose. What were they hiding it from? And is whatever they were afraid of the reason it stayed buried, untouched, unknown, forgotten, for 12,000 years?